The solstice is here for your soul, even if the world treats it like an ordinary day. For some people, this day is not random. It can become a quiet healing point, especially if you're sensitive to spiritual shifts like these. This solstice is about to heal your soul today, and maybe that is why this solstice matters. If you relate to this, then maybe this is a very important day for you. This day is not here to break you open. It is here to soften what survival made stiff. Because there are seasons in life that change the way you carry yourself. You go through disappointment, pressure, betrayal, waiting, confusion, and after a while, you stop moving through life with an open heart. You start bracing. You start preparing for things to go wrong before they even happen. You start reading every situation like it might cost you something. And slowly, without even noticing, your inner world becomes tense. Not because you are cold, because you had to protect something warm. That is what people misunderstand about guarded people. They think guardedness means a person has no feeling, when most of the time it means they felt too much in places where nobody handled them with care. So they tightened. They stopped expecting gentleness. They stopped relaxing into good things. They stopped believing peace could stay long enough to trust it, and this is where the solstice becomes powerful. Because the solstice carries warmth in a way that is not just physical. It represents a moment where life begins touching the parts of you that became rigid from constantly having to endure. The places inside you that learned to expect rejection. The places that learned to stay quiet. The places that learned to act like they needed nothing because needing something once hurt too much. This day does not come to shame those parts of you. It comes to warm them. It comes to remind you that survival may have protected you, but it was never supposed to become your permanent personality. The solstice reaches the corners of you that even you stopped visiting. And that sounds strange until you realize how easy it is to abandon parts of yourself without ever meaning to. Life gets loud, responsibilities pile up, people need things from you, pressure keeps moving, and little by little you stop checking on the softer parts of who you are. Not because you stopped caring about yourself, but because survival started demanding all your attention. There is an innocent part of you that may have gone quiet. There is a hopeful part of you that may have stopped speaking up because it got tired of being disappointed. There is a creative part of you that may still be waiting for you to remember it exists. And sometimes healing is not about becoming someone new. Sometimes healing is just returning to the parts of yourself you left behind when life got too heavy. The soul does not always need to be rebuilt. Sometimes it just needs to be remembered. That is what this solstice can touch. Not the version of you that performs strength for the world, but the version of you underneath it. The part that used to believe life could feel gentle. The part that still wants beauty, peace, and meaning without having to fight for it every single day. This is why the light matters. It is not just shining on what is broken. It is shining on what was forgotten. The most important thing to pay attention to around this solstice is not what happens outside of you. It is the quiet inner pull that starts becoming harder to ignore. One direction may suddenly feel alive, while another direction may feel strangely empty, even if nothing obvious has changed. That is where people get confused. They expect spiritual knowing to arrive with proof, noise, signs, or some dramatic moment that makes everything undeniable. But a lot of the time, knowing comes quietly. It feels like your spirit leaning away from something before your mind can explain why. It feels like your energy no longer agreeing with a path your mouth still tries to defend. Your soul will often leave a place before your body has the courage to, and this solstice can make that distance more obvious. You may notice that something you used to chase no longer gives you life, or something you kept ignoring suddenly feels warm, real, and strangely important. That is not random. That inner pull is information. It may not shout, but it does not need to. The deepest truth in you usually speaks softly because it already knows what it is. The most dangerous moment is not darkness. It is too much light, because darkness lets you hide. Darkness gives you excuses. Darkness allows things to stay vague enough for you to keep ignoring them. But when the light becomes too strong, everything starts showing itself with less mercy. The hidden side of you, the part you pushed aside, the thoughts you did not want to admit, the truth you kept dressing up as confusion, all of it becomes harder to avoid. And spiritually, that is why this solstice can feel intense for certain souls. It is not always soft. Sometimes brightness feels like pressure because it reveals more than you were prepared to see. It can make your inner world feel louder, not because something is wrong with you, but because the light is touching places that were used to being left alone. Too much light does not destroy the soul. It destroys the lies the soul was tired of carrying. That is the part people do not talk about. Everyone says they want clarity until clarity starts removing the comfort of pretending. Everyone says they want healing until healing shows them what they have been protecting, defending, and repeating without realizing it. So if this day feels heavy, it does not mean the solstice is working against you. It may mean the light is strong enough to show you what your spirit has been waiting for you to finally notice. The strange thing about the solstice is that the sun reaches its highest point, and then the descent begins. The longest day is not a permanent arrival, it is a turning point. That alone carries a message most people miss because they think the peak is the final reward, when sometimes the peak is where life asks you what you are going to do next.